said this before, but it's not. He's not a career. Has he spent his whole life?
No, he got way better media training before he re-entered into politics at the behest of a number of outside influences, which everyone can read in a 2014 or 2013 New Yorker article
Yeah, if your
where they
thesis,
were trying to groom him
if your thesis
for.
is that politicians are actors, then the fact that he wasn't a politician doesn't really change anything because
Why
he
do
was
they
just an
all
actor.
have representation from ad agencies and actor agencies? I mean, and look, dude, it's not here. It. I understand that people love Donald Trump. He's a lovable character. I think he's fucking hilarious. Very frequently funny. He goes and does stand up at his rallies. That shit is hysterical. But we're all here because at one point or another we got our teeth kicked in on major platforms for going, hey, guess what? The government isn't the president. The government isn't the House of Representatives. The government isn't the Senate. The government is beyond that and beneath that and in the shadows of that. Every single one of us has been punished for saying that. But now, all of the sudden, because the guy who dropped more drones in 4 years than Obama did in eight, the guy who printed more money in 4 years than Obama did in eight, the guy who dropped the mother of all bombs in Syria, the guy who tried to overthrow Venezuela, the guy who organized coups in Myanmar, the guy who is promising a blank check to Israel, promising blowing Iran to smithereens. Smithereens.
Israel,
The
right?
guy who is promising boots on the ground of, if not your kids, maybe mine, and definitely a lot of other people's kids in China for nothing. For nothing, because
Wait, I
everyone
didn't
knows you
hear
get
that one.
involved in a land war in Asia. Everyone in Trump's cabinet is hot for a war in China. Everyone is. It's all but in fact, the Biden administration has prepared for this because they shifted 25,000 troops into a different freaking field of training in order to prepare them for land war in China. This is something that it doesn't take tea leaves. All it takes is reading antiwar.com, and you can see this coming down the line.
I invited Kyle Anzalone from antiwar.com on today. He couldn't make
Yeah,
it.
big ups to Kyle and Dave and Connor and everybody else who
Shout out to
we
Scott
work
Horton.
out of there. Yeah,
Scott's got a new book coming out too.
Yeah, buy Scott's book. Do that.
Yeah, and for the record, and I got a pre-release of that. It's a masterpiece. Provoked. As soon as it comes out, everybody needs to read it. It's 1,000 pages.
I emailed Connor earlier
blow your
today
mind.
asking to get Scott on. So,
Yeah, he's the best. But look, I just want to make it very clear. I am not going in with rose-colored glasses on Donald Trump. Other than the boots on the ground in China, which I had never heard him say, but I'll take your word for it that perhaps he did. I'm aware of all of the pitfalls of Trump's first presidency. My name of my show is Liberty Lockdown. I am fucking furious with the guy for what transpired in 2020. So I did not cast a vote for the guy because I think that he's going to remedy everything. I view the presidency and him as basically like a warring factional gang that is slightly preferential to people like me in America than the existing paradigm which had us on the precipice of World War III. Look, you're going to get a blank check to Israel no matter who's in power. I think that's pretty evident at this point. It's not like the Biden-Harris administration or the Antony Blinken-led State Department were really holding them back. You can ask the people in Palestine if they think that they've been held back at all over the past couple of years. I don't think that's accurate. I think that the people of Ukraine have suffered a terrible injustice because of Antony Blinken and the current State Department. I don't think that that would have happened under Trump. I could be wrong. I don't really know. I just think that it's really important that the current regime, the current corporate media establishment, just suffers a refutation of the current trajectory of things where they're just constantly lying and propagandizing us. And the American people said, we're not buying it anymore. I think that was a win for us. Now, whether or not this actually ends up with us being even marginally more free, I'm not sure. It's a total TBD. But we have a lot of leverage right now in my sphere of people that are like in the in the basically the orbit of Donald Trump and his cabinet that I feel like we can get some things done on the margins that I know for a fact we would have had no fucking shot at if Kamala Harris was the president of the United States. So that was my rationale. I just want to make that clear.
Can we get Susie's opinion on this from a vaccine angle? Because we've got RFK sniffing around again, just like he was before, but Bill Gates chased him off back the first time around. Now he's coming back. There's questions about him. Yeah, obviously, I mean, his vaccine stance has been fantastic. His stance on Israel, I could do without. But that aside, what do you make of Trump, the Trump administration? I mean, this is Operation Warp Speed guy. This is the godfather of the COVID vaccines, who also said that he had questions about the vaccines before he was president. So what do you make of all this?
Yeah, Charlie, I have a really hard time with the whole warp speed thing. As you know, for those that don't, my son was injured by vaccines almost 17 years ago now and is still dealing with health issues from that that are pretty severe. So for me, I'm like, fuck you, dude, because you are the reason that more children are going to be injured. However, he did promise, Bobby a chance to be a part of his cabinet back in 2016 and then rescinded once he got a couple $1 million from the pharmaceutical industry. So my faith in him is very little because of that. However, I do believe that when you get new information, critical thinking is important or even critical. And I do see that he has done that. He has taken in new data points and he has pivoted. And now Bobby is leading a huge portion of this new cabinet. And we do have Maha. I was just a part of Rescue the Republic in Washington, D.C. It was Brett Weinstein of Dark Horse. It was Matt Toon that did Defeat the Mandates, L.A. and D.C. And it was Angela McArdle, who is the chair of the Libertarian Party. And we worked very closely together with the campaigns and with Tulsi Gabbard and with Brett Weinstein. And I already said him, with Russell Brand, who I know a lot of people don't like. With Jordan Peterson, the list goes on. But the point is that we're bringing the left, the right, and the middle together now. And that's what we have to do. You have to find your one issue or your two issues or your three issues that are the most important to you and work with the people that are willing to talk about those. And right now, I do feel like Bobby and Trump and Tulsi and Russell and even Elon, who also, I'm not a big fan of a lot of these people, but I do feel like they are giving us the best chance moving forward in what we're doing. And I'm not talking about people I've watched on podcasts. I'm talking about personal conversations that I'm having with them and individually and together. And I'm seeing the fact that they're willing to put their pride and their ego aside to literally make America healthy again. So Charlie, I hate being called out, but I'm glad that you let me have my soapbox for a minute.
I wanted to, it's an interesting component to the Trump, whatever this is.
Can I say something to that? Having covered
absolutely
since 2012, that for me, I saw all this coming, the positioning of Kirsch, even